Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. It is the weekend. It is time for a mailbag video, and we're going to get you guys just really good, honestly, great questions today. And of course, to be a part of next week's mailbag video, to be a part of this mailbag video, you had to be subscribed. So if you guys want to get, next week's mailbag video, go down below, subscribe. We're approaching 26,000 subs here on the channel. So, again, if you're new and you want to get your questions asked and hopefully answered, go down below and subscribe. All right, first question here comes from Jonathan Anher. I think Anher, that's how you say your name. Hey, Matt, love the videos. Mott, okay, it's fine, whatever. What are your thoughts on George Pickens out of Georgia? I feel like his big frame could give the Eagles a go-get receiver in case we don't land one in free agency, while also not having to use a first-round pick on him. Yes, I totally agree. I love George Pickens. Most of you guys know I live in Atlanta. I have done a lot of coverage of the Georgia Bulldogs, especially this past season, and let me just tell you, George Pickens is the best-kept secret on that Georgia Bulldog football team, mainly because, as you mentioned, injured, extremely injured. I mean, literally his entire career at Georgia, essentially, he has been injured. Only played in 4 games in 2021 due to injury. Very explosive, very productive when healthy, but the question that I always ask when looking at an injured player going into the NFL draft is this going to be a nagging injury? Is this a one-time off injury? And with George Pickens, the hope is that it will not be a nagging injury and that he will be able to go ahead and be a really great receiver in round 2 or 3. Size is great, as we said, explosiveness is great, that go-get mentality, as you mentioned, and he ran like a 4.40 at the combine yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It was a good time. I'm blanking on the exact number, but he was quick. I think he'll be a second or third round draft pick. And honestly, like you said, if you don't get a guy in free agency, you don't get a guy in the first round, Pickens is an option in round 2. But there are also other receivers in round 2, 3, and 4 that are starting to climb up draft boards. This is one of the strongest receiving draft classes I've seen in a long time. And like last year's was very, very strong. Remember, we got Devontae Smith out of it. Like Skyy Moore from Western Michigan, he is really, really good. I think that he's going to be a third-round draft pick. You get like Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. Philadelphia apparently hasn't met with him yet at the combine, but hopefully that will go ahead and change. Jalen Tolbert, again, one of these guys out of South Alabama. You have no idea if he's good or not because he played at South Alabama, but we see it all the time. They come from nowhere and they turn out to be really, really good, right? Where did Cooper Kupp play? Not a big name school. Let's just say that. And finally, Justin Ross, kind of very similar to George Pickens, injured often his time as Clemson, at least this past season, didn't play a lot, is going to go ahead and get drafted in round 2, 3, or 4. So like you said, plenty of options, but I do like Pickens because you guys know I'm a big Mike Williams fan in free agency. I want that big physical target on the outside to pair with Devontae Smith, and I think a guy like Mike Williams, or a guy like George Pickens would make a ton of sense for Philadelphia. Ad break pin comment down below. Who is your favorite wide receiver in this draft? Do you have one? Mine's Treylon Burks, although I'm starting to kind of trend a little bit towards Chris Olave. That, oh my goodness, the fact he runs routes and he ran like a 4.3 yesterday was fantastic. So either way, I got some favorites in this draft. Give me yours down below right now. All right, next question here comes from just another one who says, hey, Mott, if the Cowboys cut Amari Cooper, would you be interested? This all stems from the report, I think, earlier yesterday, or maybe it was earlier today. Either way, Adam Schefter saying likely the Cowboys will cut Amari Cooper, which leads us to the idea of another free agent wide receiver on the market. Now, I try to talk myself out of Amari Cooper being like, he was often injured, and they kind of want to throw to CeeDee Lamb more. Oh, you actually look at the numbers, and Amari Cooper in 15 games, and really only played in 8 of those games. It was available, but games he actually played in. He had 68 catches, 865 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Like, the guy is legit. He still is a great player. He's only 27 years old. And so if originally you would think about it going, that's a really good idea in terms of getting a receiver like him and bringing him on to Philadelphia to be the number 2 or potentially number 1 alongside Devontae Smith. The problem is the money. Right, the Cowboys were due to pay him $20 million this year. Now, he's not going to make $20 million with the new team that he signs, but it's going to be pretty close. I mean, we're talking about $15 million a year, $16 million a year, even $13 million a year is a lot of money overall. And so I have to kind of pump the brakes a little bit on the idea of getting a guy like Cooper, not because he's a bad player, but I think that the injuries from the past couple of years are starting to weigh just a little bit. And I also think that the money is going to be too much. Now, Mike Williams is going to be expensive. We got to at least acknowledge that. Mike Williams will cost a little bit of money. He's kind of the free agent receiver that I really, really want. But he's not going to be $15 million. He'll be $12 to $13 million a year. And that to me is a little bit more, of something that you can swallow. Or you go for all the different, draft wide receivers that we talked about previously, whether we're in the first round or second round, and it's a cheaper, younger alternative to Amari Cooper. So I don't think he's going to end up in Philadelphia. I don't think he'd pick Philadelphia either way, but I think he'll be priced out of their price range just a little bit too much. All right, Andre asks, hey Thomas, what would you do if Lloyd and Dean would both be gone at 15? Take one in the later rounds or wait for next year's draft since there are no real free agent options? I would take one in the later rounds. I'm not waiting on linebacker. Like, you could not get another year with a below-average linebacking core and expect Jonathan Gannon's defense to be successful. Like, it's built on pass rush, but you still need good linebackers to clog holes and fill gaps, especially in the run game, which they struggled a lot, especially the latter half of the season. So if Lloyd and Dean are gone, which there's a chance that Lloyd is gone, I think Dean will be there at 15. Then you go to round 2 and you get Christian Walker. Walker. Now, Christian Walker, of course, the linebacker out of Alabama. You saw him in the national championship game. He's a freak. He's incredible against the run. The problem, he's terrible against the pass. I mean, literally, he gave 1,000 yards receiving this past season just in man coverage alone. Like, he is a bad linebacker in pass coverage. Now, when I say that he's bad, it doesn't mean that he's unplayable at the NFL level. I mean, he has a lot of improvement to go ahead and be had, and I still think he'd be a good pick for Philadelphia. But, as mentioned, he's not Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd, but still an option because they need help at linebacker. There's also Chad Muma out of Wyoming. This is a very interesting prospect because you don't watch a lot of Wyoming games. You sit back and you go, how good can this guy be? You put the Chad Muma film on, really, really good. And I think a second-round draft pick or a third-round draft pick is worthy of him as well. So as with the wide receiver, right? If you can't get one in round 1, or maybe you don't like the ones that are still there in round 1, then you can wait till round 2. Still, I'd rather have Dean and Lloyd, but at the same time, you can definitely wait until later rounds if you fall in love with a guy like Muma or Walker. Either one could potentially go ahead and work. Pick one, though. Type W down below for Walker or type M down below for Muma. Let me know what you guys think down below right now in the comment section. We are also only 500 away from getting to 26,000 subs. I mean, literally, we are 500 away as we try to go ahead and grow and potentially pass the Cowboys report, which has way more subscribers than we do. We got 30 subscribers just yesterday. So, if you guys want to help us get to 26,000 subscribers, go down below and definitely hit that subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it, and it would be fantastic to catch up to these darn Cowboys. All right, Matthew Roberts asked a question here. I agree with the safety take and view it as the same as off-ball linebacker. Why the urgency to draft an off-ball linebacker in round 1 when it's a similar scenario and historically a position that gets good talent in round 2 or later? I agree with this safety thing, and I had this take, really, I thought about this the past month as you're looking at a guy like Kyle Hamilton, right? He's kind of a name that you hear a lot of in terms of trading up in the first round of draft. But then you go through the top safeties in the league right now, and I'm not saying I have all the best ones in my little list of 5 you see on your screen right now, but these are considered kind of the best 5, right? Minka Fitzpatrick for the Steelers, Tyrann Mathieu for the Chiefs, Justin Simmons might be the best of the lot with the Broncos, he's fantastic, Budda Baker with the Cardinals, and Jesse Bates with the Bengals. Now, what's the common theme here? Most of these teams with really good safeties aren't necessarily making a massive difference on their football team. Now, they are making a difference. I'm not saying that they aren't doing things out there. They are. But you never go to look at a defense and go, oh, what's the scariest part of that defense? Oh, it's their safety. It's their corner or it's their pass rusher, right? So that's why I would wait on safety. I mean, listen, you could wait get Jim Petrie out of Baylor in round 2. You could just re-sign, obviously, Roddy McLeod and maybe get somebody else in free agency. It's just not that big of a need for me. It still is a top 5 need, but it's by no means a bigger need than linebacker, a bigger need than wide receiver, a bigger need than maybe offensive line, although I think offensive line is pretty much set. Defensive line for sure, and so that's why I continue to say don't trade up for Kyle Hamilton. If he falls to 15, 16, or 19, sure. But if you have 3 first-round draft picks and Kyle Hamilton is going to go inside the top 10, don't waste them and trade up to go ahead and grab him. Next question comes from The Elite Truth, who says, you think Kelce will continue to return as long as he's healthy, becoming the next Whitworth? No, I think this is Kelce's last year. Because 2 years ago was Kelce's last year, and this past year was Kelce's last year. This is officially Jason Kelce's last season. I'd be shocked. Even if he's healthy, I think he's basically done with football. I think he still loves it. He's still going to play this year, but I do think that this is going to be the final ride, and he will go ahead and ride off into the sunset, be a Hall of Famer, and just be remembered as one of the great Eagles of all time. I think there's a statue in front of Philadelphia. His jersey should be retired. I mean, all these things are true. But I don't see Jason Kelce, doing it again and doing it again and doing it again. Because Andrew Whitworth, for as good as he was, and as good as he, really was this past season, you start to see the physical decline because he's just not as quick on the outside. And he did give up quite a bit of sacks over the final couple of games of his career, mainly due to speed rushers who could get around him and bend around the outside. Kelce is in much better shape, I think, because he is younger, but I don't think Kelce's going to come back in 2023. And honestly, you have Landon Dickerson, you can draft somebody, they'll be just fine. Before we go and get into Brett's question here, March Madness is basically here. Like, it's literally basically here. And my Baylor Bears, which I don't know if you can see, it's on the screen. I'm rocking my Baylor Bear t-shirt right now, just because March Madness is here. They're going to be a 1 seed. Last year, with our friends at BetUS, I bet on the Bears to win it all. And guess what? They did, and I won a bunch of money. Seriously, chatsports.com/bet is the link that you need. Use our promo code EAGLES125, get you a 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. Meaning, if you put $100 down, turns into $225 for you to bet on maybe the Bears, maybe somebody else. I know there's some good teams out there. Kentucky and Duke is fantastic. You got Gonzaga and Purdue, and they just recently lost. But there are plenty of great teams, okay? Either way, get to betting on March Madness. Do with our friends at BetUS, chatsports.com/bet. That promo code is EAGLES125. All right, Brett N asks, good day from down under, Thomas. Oh, good day. We have an Aussie in the chat here. Quite a few people watch from Australia. I was looking at the metrics the other day. Thank you for watching. I don't know what time it is over there. It's probably nighttime. Go shrimp, go surfing, all the fun things you do down there. What round of the draft do you expect the Eagles pick an offensive lineman, and what player should they target with that pick? I don't think they're going to take one early. Like, I don't think they take one in the first 3 rounds. Unless they just love Tyler Linderbaum and they know something that we don't about Jason Kelce, I don't think they're going to go and take an offensive lineman. I think Landon Dickerson last year was their offensive lineman, and Landon Dickerson turned out to be absolutely fantastic. I mean, him and Creed Humphreys in round 2 were like the 2 big steals of the draft right now from an O-line perspective. I mean, they were absolutely incredible. So I do not see them taking an offensive lineman. I think they're fine with what they have. If they do, it'll be a backup guy in the later rounds, but their depth chart's pretty good in terms of backup players. I think that they're going to be just fine. Drop a like if you guys agree, though. Like, you love Landon Dickerson. I mean, this is a pick that I said, oh man, comes off the knee injury. Did you really need to get an offensive lineman? I wasn't sure. Like, you can go back and watch. I poo-pooed the pick. I wasn't in love with it. And yet, he played like the entire season and was like unbelievable and one of the highest graded rookie offensive linemen behind Creed Humphreys out of Oklahoma. So, either way, great stuff. Cool, Reigns, final question here. There's some little rumors going around that about Kyler Murray getting traded. If he gets traded, he would go to the Giants. Should the Eagles look at Kyler Murray? I don't know where you're hearing about the Giants and Kyler Murray. I've not heard that at all. And I don't think he's going to be traded. I think this is just him trying to get more money. And they will pay him more money because what else are they going to do, right? Draft somebody this year? People are talking about how much they love Malik Willis. He's really not that special compared to previous quarterbacks. He's not better than Kyler Murray at this point. The Eagles should not trade for Kyler Murray. They won't trade for Kyler Murray. If they trade for somebody, it will be one player and one player only, and that is Russell Wilson. We've talked about it. Okay. All right, ultimate today on our Eagles mailbag video here on the weekend. If you guys enjoy the NFL Combine, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Of course, hashtag Eagles in the comment section. Be part of next week's mailbag. Must be a subscriber as well. And give me a follow on Twitter. I got a lot of fresh DMs from fresh followers yesterday. I want to get in on the party. Follow me at Real Thomas Mott as well. For 50 Eagles now, Thomas Mott signing off. To the rest of your day.